Hi, this is Skat at Orion Billing. I make videos to help those who are doing medical billing to get a better understanding of the job and get more money in the door. So I want to talk about personal injury auto accident claims. I have answered many questions on this over the years, and I wanted to try to put the information as concisely as possible here in one video. I'll do my best. The first thing you want to look at with personal injury claims is, are you in, or was the accident in, an at-fault state or a no-fault state? You're only in a no-fault state if you're in 12 states: Florida, Hawaii, Kansas, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, New Jersey, New York, North Dakota, Pennsylvania, and Utah. All other states are at-fault states. In no-fault means each driver is responsible for their own medical bills. In no-fault states, which is just those 12 states I mentioned, if someone is hit by another driver, that person's personal injury protection, or PIP, coverage portion of their own auto insurance policy covers their medical bills. In those 12 no-fault states, each party to the accident will file a claim with their own insurer to pay for their passengers' injuries. And as far as the medical expenses, the medical billing goes, all we need to know is that in these 12 no-fault states, the patient's own PIP coverage pays for their own medical treatment. Send the claims and the SOAP notes to the PIP insurer. Pretty simple. Now, everything else I'm going to talk about here is about at-fault states, the remaining 38 states plus Washington, D.C. In at-fault states, the party that is responsible for paying the medical bills depends on who was at fault for the accident. Things are a little more complicated in at-fault states, and the following information can make all the difference in whether the provider gets paid at all and how long it takes to get paid. So there are a few parts to it. In at-fault states, the driver who causes the accident is responsible for covering the medical care for everybody involved. If your patient was at fault for the accident, then their own insurance policy pays for their medical care. If the other driver caused the accident, the claim was filed with the other driver's insurance policy, and that is the important differentiation. So the first most important thing to clarify with a patient who comes in is, were they at fault for the accident? If so, the claim is opened with their own insurance, their own MedPay. Should cover. You submit the bills as you go, and they pay them as you go normally, just up to the point where the MedPay funds run out. This is, as far as the medical billing goes, the best case scenario. These are the cases where you're most likely to get paid. You want to verify the coverage. The patient should give you their claim number and the claim rep contact information. I have a sample of an entirely different verification form for personal injury because the information you need is quite different from regular commercial insurance. But minimally, you want to call, make sure there's an open MedPay claim, and find out how much MedPay coverage the patient has. The insurance cannot tell you how much of those funds are remaining available for your treatment. So find out from your patient if they went to the ER. Did they have any other medical treatment related to the accident? Because those bills may get paid first, leaving little remaining for the treatment that you will bill for. For example, if the patient only had $5,000 in MedPay and went to the ER and potentially had an ambulance ride, that could easily eat up most of that. So it's best to ask your patient to call their insurance and find out how much is remaining available and whether other medical bills have already been submitted and paid on those. It's an unusual situation because we don't normally have a patient verify their own insurance benefits, but in this case, the insurance doesn't have a contract with anybody but their insured. So they can't legally discuss the details of the policy with you, but you can tell your patient that they'll be responsible for paying out of their own pocket for anything their insurance doesn't cover, so they'll definitely want to get that information. Now, if the other driver was at fault, the type of insurance that covers that is called bodily injury, and then it is then a third-party bodily injury claim that is filed with the other driver's insurance policy. However, it does not normally pay as you bill them. Actually, I have seen this happen, but it's incredibly rare. Normally in these cases, your patient will have an attorney. The attorney will collect up all the medical bills for the patient once all treatment is complete, and then we'll negotiate with that other party's insurance to get as much paid as possible. But then they in turn do not want to pay for each medical treatment in full, so they're normally going to want to negotiate with you or the provider to get them to accept a lower amount for the treatment. In many cases, you can negotiate and accept a lower amount or not, but if you accept it, you waive your rights to send that patient to collections for the remainder. Of course, sending someone to collections doesn't always mean you're getting paid anyway. So if the patient has a bodily injury claim filed with the other driver who is at fault for the accident, then you have some options. One, they don't pay providers directly, but I recommend calling the insurance rep on the claim and just ask, do they want the claims from you, and will they be paying you directly as you go? Most likely not, but if they do, then send them the claims and get paid as you go, easy. Two, if you're set up to take their insurance, you can call their regular commercial insurance policy and ask if they cover auto accident claims. Occasionally they do, in which case you can just submit the claims and treat the patient just like it was any regular commercial insurance patient. Definitely call and check though, because if you just submit the claims, they may pay them, but then they'll recoup once news of the auto accident gets to them, and it will get to them. The most common scenario in a third-party bodily injury case is that the insurer is not going to pay you directly, and the commercial insurance doesn't cover claims related to an auto accident. So then you can tell the patient that they have to pay for their treatment as a cash patient, paying at the time of service for their visits, and then they in turn get reimbursed later by their own bodily injury settlement, and you can provide them with the invoices or the claim forms and the SOAP notes to help them get reimbursed for it. Or you can suck it up and wait for payment. Get the claims to the insurance or to the lawyer and wait to see what happens. It may settle and pay eventually, or the lawyer may then want to negotiate your rates down. Or I've seen it happen where the settlement amount was paid to the patient directly and then you never hear from the patient again, and you can send them to collections to try to get something from it that way, but that's obviously not ideal. But if you know the differences and you know what questions to ask, you can avoid that happening. So I hope this has been helpful. At Orion Billing, we help healthcare providers get more of what they earn. Check out my website at orionbilling.com and feel free to contact me if I can help you. Have a great day.